Hello, everyone. I wanted to make sure I go ahead and complete floor and cost project. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up what we've done thus far and complete the code for our calculate button. And I'm going to go ahead and type the code for that particular button. So this is what we have so far. If you click the debug button, I'm gonna go ahead and let us see what we have. So right now we have our radio buttons and we can input in our text box. We can click the clear button and we can click the exit button. The only one we haven't written code for is the calculate button. So I'm going to go ahead and double click. And now it has us inside of our calculate button. So the very first thing, if you look inside of your textbook, it has comments and all that you can put in, but I want to keep the video as short as possible. So I'm just going to focus on the main code. So what we're going to do is go ahead and create our variables. So this is the for the footage, however much they're planning to request, and then cost per square feet, which is going to be different, or square foot, which is going to be different for each one, but we will have a variable that allows us to update. And then tile cost, this is how much they'll have to pay for the tile per square foot, equals $4.49. And don't forget your D on the end. And then we're gonna do our carpet cost, which is $4.99. And then our hardwood cost, $7.49, and a D on the end. All right, so now we have our variables that will hold our information. So what we want to do now, so always think about what you want to happen next. So the next thing that we want to take place is checking and validating the input of the user. So we're going to use an if statement, which is what we're studying this particular chapter. So our very first if statement is going to check to make sure that whatever value they entered is numeric inside of the text box. So txt footage is the name of our text box. .text will grab whatever is there. If this is true, if it is in fact numeric, then we want to update our footage variable by taking whatever is in that particular text box and converting it to a decimal. All right, once we do that, we want to check to make sure that particular value is greater than 0. So we want to make sure they've actually entered something that you can use. And if this is true, then what we want to do now is check to see what selection they have made. And notice that we're nesting our if statements. Notice this, we're nesting here. So if this is true, then this is what we want to happen, okay? And then we'll get into if it's false, what will happen. But right now, if this is true, this is where we're flowing, okay? So now if we're gonna check to see if the tile button has been selected to see if they want tile. If they want tile, then let's do the check. If this is checked, then now we're gonna update the cost per square foot to whatever's in our decimal, whatever the tile cost is, all right? And then we're gonna have an else if that's going to check to see if they selected carpet. If they did, in fact, select carpet, then we're going to update the cost per foot to the carpet cost, okay? And then we're gonna have one other test, else if, and we're gonna check to see if they selected hardwood. If that is in fact checked, then we're gonna update the cost per square foot to whatever the hardwood cost is, okay? And notice that that particular portion in there, this is nested inside of this if structure. So now you need an end if for that, okay? This end if here, you'll see how it's aligned. It goes with this if statement here, okay? So now just be mindful of where your statements are taking place, okay? So once we get the selection, we update the cost and know what they want to pay. Then after this end if, this inner portion, we are going to go ahead and calculate the cost. So cost estimate equals decimal footage times whatever the decimal cost per square foot. So which are based on whatever selection they made, that's what's gonna, that's what will be multiplied. And then we want to go ahead and update our label so that it prints the cost. So cost estimate, once cost estimate has updated it, we're gonna print use to string and we're gonna use currency and we're gonna print it to our form, okay? So that's what happens if everything is numeric, is greater than 0. They've made a selection and then here we're gonna present it, okay? So that particular portion is what will take place, okay? However, if they should have anything less than 0, if this should be false, then now we're gonna have an else statement here as to what we want to happen. So if it should be false, like they have a negative number, then we're gonna have a message box that appears that tells them what they entered. So you entered, and then we're gonna concatenate whatever they entered. So we're gonna grab whatever's in the, stored in footage because we've taken it at this point. And we're going to just use regular toString to print it to let them know this is what you entered, okay? And then we're gonna put a period, we're concatenating, and then we're telling them to enter a positive number, okay? Telling them that what they entered is invalid. And then just commas, you remember the parameters that we're just gonna have input error as our caption, okay? As the title for our message box, all right? Once that happens, then we're gonna clear out the text box. So dot text equals in our footage, and then we're gonna also set the focus in our text box, all right? So that's what we want to happen if they enter a negative number. If this portion is false, then it skips all this and then we'll have a message box appear, okay? On the flip side, what if what they entered is not numeric and they enter like a character or a symbol or something? Now we need an else statement for that. So we're gonna come here outside of this particular end if, and we're gonna type an else here. And we're gonna have another message box here, okay? And we're gonna say enter the square. So we're just basically gonna ask them again to enter the square footage of flooring, okay? And then we have our parameters here, which is, and you remember this here is what style of a message box you want. Leaving it empty just chooses the default okay one, which is totally okay. And then input area is what we want the caption to say. And this portion is the message that we want to say. So once we do that and we have the message box up here, then we want to clear out the text that's there. All right. And we want to set the focus. Okay. And that's pretty much it. All right, so let's save what we have and let's check it out. Let's debug it and see what we have so far. All right, so I'm gonna enter 10, I'm gonna select hardwood and it's gonna calculate, okay? Then I'm gonna clear it out. I'm gonna put a letter, or it looks like an L, let's put an H. And then I'm gonna select carpet, calculate, and notice that the Skinner square footage message box appears. We click okay, it clears it out. And you can also reset your tile here if you want. Inside after the message box, you can actually go and say now tile check or whatever the case may be, okay? Or you can just clear it out and just allow it to do it again. But at this point, just want to make sure that you are entering the correct number. So -9, calculate, and notice you enter -9, enter a positive number, and you click OK, you clear it out, or you can just start over and you click the exit button. So that is what you should have so far. You can definitely look in your textbook. Your textbook provides all of this. I just wanted to make sure that I walk through it to make sure you're good. So this is what you should have for your calculate button. For your form load, you should just set the focus and clear out the label. For your clear button, you're clearing out, you're setting all of your radio buttons to false except the tile button. And then your exit button is closing. Okay, so that's it as of now. Please review this and complete your chapter 5 lab and submit that by the deadline. And also complete your knowledge check, okay? If you have questions, please let me know. Your midterm exam next week will be based on chapter 5. I hope you guys are staying safe. I'll see you guys soon.